regardless, now I'm headed to class. I'm still 20%, so get your head out your ass. I'm the antonym of the internet, still cleaning up the viruses that you had left. I think I'm falling in love again. Don't stop until you hear the I'm the antonym of the internet, been fighting on new grounds over if my love is valid. Fuck the cynicism, let the colors fly. Don't care, you think it's cringe because it's not your life. She said, do you like waffles? I said, hell yeah. Been watching Equals 3 until 2 a.m. I ain't got no iPhone, but I got a DS with a keychain, a pinky. Her cupcakes are the best. I've been failing my classes cause I don't give a damn. They say the world is my oyster, but the free market's a scam. Everything's been changing since last generation was born, and they won't try to take and change. Use a two-edged sword. I'm the antonym of the internet, still cleaning up the viruses that you had left. I think I'm falling in love again. Don't stop until you I'm the antonym of the internet, been fighting on new grounds over if my love is valid. Fuck the cynicism, let the colors fly. Don't care, you think it's cringe because it's not your life. It's never too late to fall in love with the world. Your past is not today, so say you're straight with a twirl. Yeah, we've all made mistakes before, that's the facts of life. But once you restate your heart, you'll be just fine. Now it's your life, you say it's on mine, on mine. Revel in your friends and hobbies, let your heart speak. Wanna drift to say some shit, just block that internet freak. I'm the antonym of the internet, still cleaning up the viruses that you had left. I think I'm falling in love again. Don't stop until you I'm the antonym of the internet, been fighting on new grounds over if my love is valid. Fuck the cynicism, let the colors fly. Don't care, you think it's cringe because it's not your life.
Alright. Let's go ahead and start this back up. Hello everybody. Hey Dawn Seeker. Hey Godin Assembly. Sorry I posted the video late. I should have posted it earlier, but I just kind of realized that it wasn't already scheduled right as I was about to go set everything up for a stream. Because, you know, I was kind of working on the Dragonheart review because I swear it's cursed. I tried uploading with just everything flipped. The problem is one of the scenes I wanted to use was the cool, like, flaming Dragonheart intro scene with the title, and, God, it just hasn't really been working. I'm thinking about maybe removing the audio from that one. Might help, but it was nice. It was a nice effect, you know? Whole flaming Dragonheart name title. Namaste. Hey, Dragon. So I'm really annoyed that there were several points where I used footage to punctuate my dialogue or to make an example. Like I had like the whiny prince being whiny to talk about how annoying he was at some moments, and I'm just like, well, I guess I gotta cut that out now, or like change the dialogue. I saw a tip online that one of the ways to prevent audio from maybe getting captured, like there might just be background music or something, and so one of the ways you can do is you can play a little bit of a different background music. I was stalking the channel waiting for the waiting room to drop. You are very persistent, my friend. Very persistent indeed. Alright, we've got a quest to find graffiti. Because the smuggler has, like, placed graffiti all over. So we gotta follow the arrows. Very, very, very smart of the smuggler to have arrows pointing to his illegal cache of shit. This is totally how you do this. Oh, man. Dawn Seeker is a stalker, I suppose. Did you see the poems I posted? Yeah, they were pretty good. I'm not really a big poem person, so I did read them. I thought they were interesting, but I've never been like a huge poem guy, so I can't really judge them. I guess I don't know. My record with poetry isn't that great. I think the closest thing I have to it is the when I read mythology from like original sources, and a lot of that's me trying to figure out what they're actually saying, because it's all, you know, it's all in poetry, flowery language, so I'm trying to figure out the actual facts of the story, or they're using words that I haven't seen in a while. They were fun though, or fun might be the wrong word. The World of Dreams in particular was nice. A very nice contrast to, like, you know, children growing up and becoming adults. Oh man. Forever banished from the world of dreams, the freaking last line. It's very good. Let's see. So, I do have my stuff pretty nice at the moment. I've got, like, full intellect, so I'm at max intelligence. Twisted, TikTok, and never-ending game. Okay. You know, one of the things I really, really do enjoy in English class was not actually English. So, actually, this was something I want to talk about, actually. I wanted to mention where I originally found a lot of mythology that I did, because I don't think I've ever talked about this with anyone. I originally read most of my, like, early mythology, like the original story of Pandora, or Eros and Psyche, in my literature book. In, like, English, I think in, like, middle school, when I was looking through it. There was actually, like, mythology and stuff.
At least we know where we're going.
Find the meeting spot. Northwest out of town, past the dry lake bed. However, I've also complained regularly that English, at least in American schools, is kind of sucks. So it's like, oh wait, but if your history, if your textbooks have mythology and stuff in them and other interesting stories, why don't you mention that? It's like, because the teacher never read any of them. I found them because I got bored while the teacher was reviewing something they already had us read the night before, and would go check the next page, and it's like, oh look, there's all these interesting stories with like weird fantasy elements. Why aren't we talking about this? This is way more interesting than this other shit. It was a thing with me. So yeah, I actively hated English, but like there was so much interesting stuff in the textbook. The teacher just chose the worst stuff, in my opinion. Oh man. I'm just amazed, because you would think that if you had access to all these stories and you're forcing kids to buy these textbooks anyway, why not just do something like say, hey, here's a group of stories from this chapter, or here's a group of like, you know, things. You can choose like the mythology one or something else. Now I want each of you to choose one. You can choose any one you want and just like tell us about it. No accounting for taste. I know. And I get the taste is different, but like, I think that's part of the problem, my problem with a lot of English and reading classes, is they try to like make everyone read the things that they think are important, but what's important varies from person to person. Like, for example, if I were in charge of like planning out an English curriculum, you know, probably not teaching because I'm a shit teacher. You brought your middle school textbooks. No, I think we paid a fee for them or something. I guess, I actually can't remember if we bought the textbooks or not. I don't think we did, actually, now that I'm thinking of it. Fine. If they had the textbooks anyway, how about that? If they had the textbooks, why not just, like, let us, you know, use something different? My bad. They probably just gave us those textbooks, so they were pretty old. Particular verse in Neverending Game was, any enemy you see, you know, leaps of faith, real bodies below cold, and countless they litter in the ravine. One filled with hope is no longer to be seen. Yeah. Now, I do have one person I do like poetry for, and that's Edgar Allan Poe. But that's mostly because I just like Edgar Allan Poe's stuff. I've read a lot of his things. I'm pretty basic, though, because my favorite is The Raven. It's one of my favorite stories by him, because, you know, it's also very, very, very good. It also weirdly has, like, one of the best readings of it is, like, the fucking Simpsons episode. It's not the full story, which always pisses me off, because the narrator they got for it was so freaking good.
Been traveling together for a little
you know, I'm just kind of realizing, I read Edgar Allan Poe in middle school. Why the frick did they let me read about his stuff in middle school? I guess they really do just don't care about, they really don't care about content warnings in middle school, huh? Because, like, I think I read the Count of Montiago in middle school. That's about a guy getting bricked up to suffocate to death in a wine cellar because another guy just didn't like him. It's literally a plotted murder plot where the guy got away with it in the end.
I don't know what's lurking in him.
Well, I guess if it's old enough, anything get by the
If
censors.
he reaches out, do try, will you?
Oh,
As for
man.
Giada, well, clearly Giada is a gem. As for me, I'm just as riveting as you, but the boys...
Edgar Allan Poe had a very dark sense of very dark sense of tone. I do really, really enjoy it.
It is, but so is the ability to actually talk to any you meet.
Monsters from Montiago, The Red Room, The Pendulum, Raven, A Telltale Heart. This is actually me growing taste, because when I first read Telltale Heart, I didn't really get it. I was like, okay, crazy guy. And I was like, but I read it like a few years after middle school, like when I got back into Edgar Allan Poe a bit. And I was like, ooh, this is actually really riveting and good. Have you heard of a little book called The Bible? Yeah, I mean, that thing is freaking brutal. It's full of murder and sex and all the good stuff we used to think was really edgy and cool. Oh, man. Oh, shit, I wasn't paying attention to my dialogue choices here. Telltale Heart is good. Yeah, it's very good. And it's now one of my favorite stories of his, in retrospect. I've also read Lovecraft's work, and I still do really like Call of Cthulhu. It's genuinely my favorite one. Yeah, I know it's the one he's like that's referenced a lot, but I don't know how it's spelled. Telltale Heart. Telltale. I think it's a Telltale Heart. My gosh, those furry ears are in the light fur on her shoulders is never not going to be distracting.
That's my surrogate father you're talking about? Spare my imagination, if you please.
When your camping companion, when you can, basically constantly tell you to take leaps of faith, saying it worked out, as if it always worked out. Then what about the leaps of faith failed? And those people who took the leaps of faith died. Yeah. Reanimated is my favorite Lovecraft story. Of course, Code and Assembly. That makes complete sense knowing who you are.
I could probably teach you a thing or two, if you're up. What do you say?
A lot of people say Shadows over Innsmouth or At the Mountains of Madness, and they're both really good. Don't get me wrong, but
of course, darling.
It's at the same time I'm just like, yes, they're good. They're very good. They're very interesting. But Call of Cthulhu kind of like solidifies the cosmic horror for me. This unknowable thing, island in the middle of nowhere and all that driving artists mad, like, everywhere. It has so much of the Lovecraft energy that you come to see in a lot of the adaptations, I guess you could say. Although, weirdly enough, it feels like every time they adapt Lovecraft, they always just adapt Shadow over Innsmouth, because, and I guess that makes sense. Shadows over Innsmouth has a plot that is at least, like, something a protagonist could theoretically survive with their mind and body intact to an extent. Like, there's a chance of a good ending. The reason it's not a good ending for the narrator in the book is because he's actually a descendant of Innsmouth and acting crazy just like the rest of them and turned into a fish person. But if, like, a random other person had gone to Innsmouth and gotten caught up in all that, then it wouldn't probably not have ended as badly, right? So, listened to The Color Out of Space and Dunwich Horror. Oh, man, the Dunwich Horrors. Actually, that was the second Lovecraft thing I ever read, was the Dunwich Horror. I read Call of Cthulhu, and then I immediately looked for more Eldritch God stuff, and found the Dunwich Horror. It was a lot. I think The Color Out of Space was one of the ones I read, like, midway into my frenzy. I actually have a hardback collection of Lovecraft stuff. I got it in my time working at Barnes & Noble, because, God, one of the best parts about working at Barnes & Noble was the discount. 30% on, it was 30% on non-book stuff and 40% off books, which was sweet. Actually, it was kind of hilarious. For a while, I didn't actually buy my Magic the Gathering cards at the card shop as often, because it was so cheap to just get one for 30% off at the, at Barnes & Noble. Hello, the man. Welcome. We're talking about Lovecraft and weird poems. It's strange, but aside from twisted TikTok, all my poems were created when I was in my deepest pits of depression. Strangely, the more depressing and the more flowery my words become. I mean, I feel like that kind of tracks, historically speaking. Like, I mean, we've been talking about H.P. Lovecraft and Edgar Allan Poe. You know, they had some fairly flowery and descriptive language in their books. And, hey, would you look at that? Both of them were depressed to hell and back. Oh my God, what is with this desert? Okay, I just kind of realized this. This desert is like eye-searing. That orange. What is with this desert? Is this... I actually can't tell if this is intentional or if it's just, like, low rendering. Like, look at this. The frick? The game usually actually has pretty good environments, but this desert just feels like they kind of, like, went, just throw orange and, blue, what, a seafoam green everywhere and we'll be fine. Oh, shoot, green falls. Alright, time for you to suffer. Free! Aha! Oh my God, they're coming out of the frickin' sand! Bam! He sucks so. Gray-green fungus growing in the sand. I don't know, the orange is almost blinding me, I'm not gonna lie. It's actually hard for me to see the detailing because the orange and the shadows are, like, blinding me. It almost looks, like, stylized a bit. Like, the art style is almost shifting with the terrain. Like, this looks something out of, like, a comic book stylized rock almost. Oh my God. You know, like, shadowing where you get, like, the deep blacks and everything. Every once in a while, it really starts to look like that. There is a green fungus growing in the sand over here. That is pretty cool. I mean, we've been seeing fungus everywhere, though. Although these textures are, like, really stretched. Like, look at that. It's a cool effect, but also it does look kind of, like, warped. I can't tell if it's, like, intentionally supposed to be like that, or if they just stretched the texture and didn't care. Orange sand. Don't think it's too weird. That's fair, I guess. What do we have here? Whisper of Exiles. Ooh, Frost Wand. Neat. I think I'm going to play with the Frost Wand for a bit. Because Frost is easily the best element, which I like as like a fuck you to Skyrim. Where Frost was the worst element because it only did stamina damage, which people already used up their stamina anyway. And most Nords were resistant to it, which sucked because a lot of the enemies were Nords. Twisted TikTok is a commentary on the callous inevitability of time. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I like stories like that, and I like stuff about that, but we also have, like, a lot of things about the callous inevitability of time. There are a lot of things about how time slips away from us, it doesn't give a shit. And this is why this isn't a stealth game. You get one stealth kill, and then every other enemy is... Holy shit! Did they fix the stealth? Oh my God, I think this is the first time I've ever gotten 2 stealth kills. Nope, and now they immediately saw me. There it is. Just like material... I don't think he climbed out the sand over here. He just like materialized out thin air. And frozen. Instant paralysis on a build-up is just really good. Like, this is just really powerful. With my basic attacks able to instantly paralyze my enemies, that's just too good to pass up. Before this, I was having to rely on mana to do it, but now I can just have it happen. Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be the one. I can already feel it. I mean, there's like a fire... There's probably gonna be a fire wand too, but damage over time is not nearly as good as paralyze and let my enemies let me wail on it with pre-prepared spells. This is gonna be the one. I do think I want to keep the War Mage set though, because or at least the boots, because the regeneration of mana with dodging is just so useful. Like, that passive regeneration is so very useful. It's also created to be something like a nursery rhyme. In fact, the first verse just popped into my mind and been out of nowhere. Ah, yes. The moment when an idea just pops in your head and you start writing stuff down. I've had that happen. Actually, that's where most of my fanfics come from. If you ever wonder why most of my fanfics are like one-shots, it's because they literally are just random fucking one-off ideas that I couldn't let go of. Probably at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and I wrote down and then extrapolated upon later, and that's basically all they are. I will say the environment looks a little... I guess it's a desert, but it does look a little less detailed compared to everything else we've been seeing lately. Also, I feel a little overpowered, I'm not gonna lie. Like, at the beginning of the game, I was actually challenged, but now I feel like I'm just effortlessly killing everything around me. I'm not even popping that many health potions anymore. I guess that's what happens, though, when you do all the side quests, right? Earth and rock. Man. Let's go. Let's go. What were we talking about before all this? Oh, ouch. It also helps that I have 2 healing abilities now, which is very much reducing the amount of time I have to use on actual healing potions. The fact that one of my heals is also a damage over time for undead is just so useful. Rough version, I go back and polish it. Yeah. God, my most embarrassing stuff is like some of the things I just didn't polish enough. Full of like little mistakes in grammar. I still have that issue. Editing text is never my strong suit. And it's why I like constantly have to speak things aloud, because if I don't do that, if I just write it down and I don't say it out loud, I will run into mistakes. Saying whatever you've written out loud is a really good way of determining a lot of times if it's actually a good idea. Because then you're forced to hear what you're saying. Ooh. Also, being able to use on wand to just instantly create a platform like that is nice. I love that. I will never get sick of doing that. Oh, hey, random shirtless dude in the desert. How are you?
Hey there, brother.
Oh my god, this is a surf bro.
Or we can get right to business.
Wait, what?
Because a glint in your eye says you're here for a reason.
I kind of just wandered into the desert. Oh, your old captain is hoping to share a drink with you. Yeah, I remember this quest.
No shit. Is it a
Special occasion?
Should I wear
Wait,
my
what?
shorts?
Strictly a casual affair. Though
What
a
the
touch of
frick is
blue
with this guy? Why is he just living out in the middle of the desert with no shirt on? That feels like this seems like a good way to get a sunburn. Although I guess he has. Can a fish person get a sunburn actually?
Well, you know how
He doesn't have nipples. Where did they go? No, but they do. Look, you can see it. There's a little patch. I think the texture just overwrote the nipple.
politics. Maybe the deal.
Like here, look. You can see where there's supposed to be something. There's like a little discoloration where it should be. I can't tell if that's actually it though.
Wronger though.
A little discoloration there and there. I can't tell if it's actually supposed to be there though.
Well, nothing divides.
Do they just not put nipples in for any of the bottles? Or do they like rub them off? Because it almost... It's so weird. Why'd you just say that, Coda Simply? Because once you said that, I can't unsee it. I need to put the text back. I can't focus on this anymore. No, I refuse. I refuse to focus on this fact out of everything I hear. Oh man. Why'd you have to bring that up? Why? Why is that instantly the first thing you see when you see a shirtless guy? Is that he has no nipples? Why? Why would you say that? You know what? I'm gonna go back to that ice cave. I need you. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the ice cave now. I have cursed vision. The joy of Jujutsu sorcerers. Actually, you would probably be great at it. It's childhood trauma equals power. Oh man. Alright, let's go back to the main quest for a bit. Talk to that sorcerer who created the giant blizzard illusion. I kind of left so I could do some side quests when I had a bit of time. That was back before I realized the Dragonheart video had been taken down. Living for the sake of living is pretty self-explanatory. How it is to live without ambition or purpose. That one is close to me. Yeah, I enjoy having something to do, having a purpose driving you forward. Even if it's not like a set purpose, something you define yourself, it's nice. I don't think there's really inherently driving us, other than a desire to probably not die. But it is nice to do stuff, and to have plans, and to have ideas, and to have goals. Next lesson. Oh god, it's kanji. Yeah, oh my god, it's actually, whoa. Holy shit, it's working. I actually recognize that just like offhanded. I literally didn't even have to think about it. I'm like, kan and G. And I'm like, oh, yeah, kanji? Oh, kanji. Okay. Oh god, it's becoming instinctive. Watching as the world passes by, days just blend together. See, the days don't seem to blend together for me. I guess it's partially because I just always have stuff to do so much. Oh, that's kaji, not kanji. I'm sorry, I forgot I didn't notice that I was lacking an N either. Kaji versus kanji. So what's the plot of this game? I haven't been able to tune in lately. I've been very busy. Well, we're in fantasy Australia. The Empire of Britain would like to conquer it. We're ruled by a emperor who wants, who worships a flaming god queen, and we also have a crazy cult leader lady who leads her own militia, who has fire eyes, and she wants to rule. The diplomat is like, hey, chill the fuck out. And the Earth itself is starting to turn against the world, but we're also the demigod child of a god who's also the mycelium network that runs underneath the island, and we have to go wake her up because there's a scourge going about that's turning people into mushroom people and corrupting their souls. I think that about sums it up, right? And we're talking to this archwizard for reasons. This is like an archmage. We're going to talk to them for reasons. They did this to this whole place. Your streams have made my Tuesday and Thursdays work go by quicker. Gives me something to look forward to. I'm glad. I'm always happy to help there. Mine, all mine. Anyway, I'm playing as Needhog, the guy with the mushroom face. Yes, this is what my character looks like. Deal with it. So the main character is the child of mushroom. No, we're the child of the mushroom network. It's not a single mushroom. We're the child of all the mushrooms. We are all mushrooms. Everywhere there are mushrooms to have, we are them, and they are us. An extension of their life force. The concept of mushroom. Exactly. You know how fantasy gods work. Most of the time. Pop a mysterious vial of purple liquid for power. Alright, got him. Yes! Haha! Ask Mario Bros. He knows everything about psycho mushrooms. Fire and ice. And I'm basically an ice wizard, because this game decided, unlike Skyrim, that ice wizards should actually be powerful and not little pushovers. In case you've never played Skyrim, that's a really freaking cool statue. I probably shouldn't be paying attention to it while I'm being shot arrows at. Anyway, it's got its own pantheon and cycle of reincarnation and all that jazz. You know, the usual fantasy stuff. Hello, monk. I see you over there, and I must defeat you. Boom! Anyway, we just finally learned his the god's name, Saradal or whatever, and we are going to go save him because he gave us life, but he also might be causing the plague. He's been a little ominous and slightly unclear about the origin of the plague and who actually needs to be purged. He acts a bit like a child and doesn't seem to understand the idea of murder, but also seems to be really on board with it sometimes. It's weird. I'm doing this constantly exploring, messing around stuff while being shot at. Because, like, fight like fight, but secrets can't be missed. Look, I haven't actually been challenged in the combat in a bit. I'm not sure if it's just a lull period where I've been doing a bit too much side questing, but I don't know. I do think this statue is cool as frick, though. Like, look at this thing. Oh, wait, is this the Archmage? Uh-oh.
This wizard is making us jump through hoops for her own amusement.
Uh-oh. I think that's the Archmage.
She can actually
That was a really cool, that's a really cool
I think
statue.
it's part and parcel of being an archmage, unfortunately. Maybe she's trying to teach us something.
I think you're being a little too nice. I suspect the statue is a
That makes
transportation
sense.
device. Okay.
That means we get to investigate.
That statue seems
They do have a lot of repetitive dialogue, I will say that about Obsidian here.
So keep
Real talk, are Mario mushrooms steroids or psychedelic mushrooms the power imagination of Baki?
and the hand are
Why not both?
significance.
I heard the difficulty curve you're seeing is
the open
intended.
chest cavity? Let's
Okay.
take a look at that book of yours. There once stood a village protected by a statue.
Statue.
The air crisp, the land fertile, and the people.
Yeah, that works.
For a time, the village
Whenever people ask, like, why you can't do one thing or the other. Never-ending game. I, for a long time, struggled to understand its theme. But the overall theme of Never-ending Game is fighting depression.
And the village could not make it.
I mean, that is a fitting title for something fighting depression. It's not something you just deal with and it's done with forever. Wonder what Impasse is talking
Looks
about.
like she wants us to know this story. So until first things first.
Let's get
those
stats.
statue pieces.
Okay, so it's not the Archmage. We have to find the rest of the pieces of the statue. Alright, sure. Let's go grab the pieces. And, of course, they're going to be element... Well, I will say the mantling system is generally pretty good. I use the term generally. That particular little screw-up right there is one of the only ones I've actually seen before. Let's see. I have a fire grenade, so I should probably just use those instead of wasting mana. There we are. Not every game is Dark Souls. Why Dark Souls tough? Like, well, that's the thing. I'm not saying it has to be Dark Souls. I'm just saying that the early game was more even. The challenge felt a bit more fair in the early game. Maybe it's that I've gotten better at the game, you know, because I'm more used to its systems now. But I feel like ever since I unlocked the full book, maybe it's that I rushed the Grimoire. Is that like an optimal strategy or something I stumbled into? Because sometimes you do an optimal strategy and stumble into it, it can be a bit easier. But I feel like ever since I've been, you know, crafting properly and respect once, the whole game has just gotten so much easier. Where, like, not like annoyingly easy, but it's not providing the same level of challenge I was at the beginning. It's not that the game is not as hard as Dark Souls, it's just that it got easier and I'm not sure exactly... Oh, shoot! Wait, oh, shoot, I'm about to die. What's killing me? What's up with this place? Why is my health... Oh, I'm poisoned, that's why. I'm an idiot. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, we need one of our companion's abilities. Dispel Illusion, please. Dark Souls isn't... Okay, here, this is gonna get me in trouble. Dark Souls isn't difficult, it's challenging. And I will argue there's a difference between the two, technically. Like, a challenging game is something that actually has a challenge that is reasonable to overcome. Like, if you know what you're doing in a Dark Souls fight, if you know how to react to each attack, it's not that hard. The difficulty is figuring out how to react and learning the boss's flow so that you can react appropriately in a way that won't make you unable to react to the next thing. Basically, learning the boss's limitations and then exploiting them. Dark Souls is actually a lot about exploiting its natural systems. If you can do something in the game, it's generally intended and you're supposed to be able to do it and you're supposed to be able to wreck them with it. But with, like, parrying, for example, makes Gwyn a total pushover. But he's really difficult if you can't parry. But even then, if you know how to dodge his attacks, he's still pretty easy. I argue not even challenging, more technical. You need to understand the game at a basic level with some of the technical there. Yeah, it's about understanding the game systems. With difficult games, I would argue a difficult game is something that just becomes hard because the numbers are against you. And what I mean by that is things like ultra hard mode or nightmare mode and something like the original Prototype games. I'm not sure if you ever played those. Those games are annoying in their hard mode because I played them when I was trying to 100% them. Like years ago, back when I actually did that kind of thing on a regular basis. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't a challenge. The boss just had insanely high damage and insanely ridiculous attack defenses, insanely high health. That I not only had to do like a really difficult maneuver, and be, like, perfect in my dodges, but I had to do that over and over again, and the boss could, like, two-shot me, you know? Like, the boss didn't have to be perfect, but I had to be perfect. That made sense. It wasn't a sort of, like, high-damage boss that also had low health. And Dark Souls has a handful of fights like this, but they're all being used to actively punish you. Like, the only two fights I can think about like that in Dark Souls are, well, the only one, well, the main two I think of. I think there are probably a few more, but the main two I can think of is there is the Ancient Dragon and there is, oh god, what's the king's name? King Vendrick in Dark Souls 2. In both those games, they're bosses that even at high levels can like one or two shot you, and or maybe three shot you if you really pump vigor. And they are massive tanks with huge amounts of health. They are ridiculously punishing and boring to fight. However, you're not supposed to fight them like that. Vendrick, you're supposed to gather the souls of giants from memories. If you do that, then his defenses lower massively and it's just high damage. But with the Ancient Dragon, it's actually a punishment, because this is an Ancient Dragon that Aldia recreated using giant souls. And it's an actual Ancient Dragon, which in the lore of Dark Souls were immensely powerful immortal beings that took multiple gods throwing lightning bolts at them to kill. Like, it's basically one of those powerful things in existence and not decaying like the rest of the world. So, like, yeah, it's gonna be unfair. It's not something that's anywhere near conquerable, even by a hero. It's something a god is supposed to fight in their prime. Like, this isn't the Gwyn you fought as Lord of Cinders. This is Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, the prime of his power. The height of everything he could do. That's the kind of creature who could oppose him. Old Dooms can be hard if you crank Ultraviolence with Source Port mod. They also deepness as well. Yeah, I find a lot of hard modes, though, generally just increase numbers. And when you do that without tweaking the way the enemy reacts, or the way the resources the player has access to, it just results in systems that feel unfair. I generally feel a similar way, and I'm going to be very, very cautious the way I say this, about ultra-hard modes and survival horror games as well, not just action games. The limiting of resources is fair to an extent. It's when you get to really ridiculous resource limitations where you can't miss shots at all that it becomes really hard to play those modes. Now, they're not just... That's not to say I'm a fan of every alternate hard mode modification. For example, one hard mode thing I actually hate beyond any reasonable doubt is limited save systems. I know limited save systems can be used effectively. There are games that use them somewhat fair. However, most of the time, they're just BS. Gosh, one of the reasons one of the Ultra-Violence map, I think, adds additional enemies to maps, I believe. Yeah, they tweaked the enemies placement and things like that. They didn't just increase numbers. I understand that. For Doom did not just increase numbers. I get that. They did some more things to tweak it, and they made it something that you could technically beat. However, I've never really enjoyed them that much. Which is weird because I love Dark Souls, as I've said multiple times. I actually love Dark Souls. And most of the time when I say that, people are like, oh, so you love playing games on, like, the hardest difficulty or whatever. And I'm like, no. Dark Souls is fair. Ultra-hard difficulties generally aren't, by definition. They're unfair challenges for challenge seekers who want to prove that they can do what's supposed to be nearly impossible to do, or actually impossible sometimes. For Doom, you can put in a randomizer that has new monsters, but randomly, it isn't random per monster. Per class of monster slot is random. There's also corruption cards where monsters gain new properties and attacks. Nightmare difficulty is also something altogether. Yeah, that's different. That wasn't meant to be beaten. But if I know correctly, wasn't that meant to be like a joke? Like, literally a joke. Like, guys, don't select the hardest difficulty. It's actually impossible, you know? Ha ha ha. And people, I think, probably are going to find out. I don't remember. Have anybody found a way to beat Nightmare difficulty? I actually don't remember. Was it eventually beaten despite not being meant to be beaten? Because I actually don't remember or not. Yes, Nightmare difficulty was fair. Though in vanilla, it's still beatable. But it wasn't meant to be beaten. claiming the game was too easy. Oh, man. I don't know. I just find that, like, fair challenges tend to be better. And there are ways to increase the difficulty without doing that. Listfanga actually had a good way of doing it. Adding additional conditions to complete levels. Actually, in particular, I think games that do things like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta, I actually like their difficulties way better. Partially because they have so many, their difficulties are meant to build up to each other. And by when you beat the game, but making it how stylishly you did it, trying to get the platinum can be nearly impossible and feel unfair. But as long as you can still get the gold, I don't consider it as bad as actively blocking your progression of the level, if that makes sense. I don't know. I have always liked the way that Devil May Cry and Bayonetta do stuff. Do that kind of thing. Mostly because it feels better, you know? Fairness is time to pin down. Tough to pin down because there are frustrating games that still fights and all that stuff. Back then, gamers weren't as good. That's really true. When they create nightmare difficulties now, they do stupid stuff. Although, and I will say this, there is a nightmare mode I've never beaten, but I know about. And it is one of the most evil nightmare modes I've ever seen. And you know what it is? It was the Dead Space 2 Ultra, super hardcore mode. What was it, like, the hardcore? I think it was actually called hardcore mode or something like that. The whole thing was, you could not close the game. So, like, if you turned off the console, like NES rules, if you turn off the console, it would literally just blank it. And you got one save file in the entire game. You could save it precisely one time. Most people saved about the halfway point. And you'd get an achievement in the foam finger. Plenty of people beat it, but those people have dedication. Like, imagine just like you're doing great. You finally did a run where you're doing all the stuff you need to do, and then you have an unavoidable consequence, and you never get that far again. Like, oh man, that's the kind of thing that would actively drive me mad. I'm not gonna lie, because life exists. Even I can't ignore it. One of the frustrating parts is trying to tell someone you live with that I'm playing an online game with other people, and I can't just pause it. I don't care what you're doing right now. I said I was busy. Some people have a very hard time understanding that. Look at this. This is like gigantic boss monster popped out of nowhere, and I just like wrecked its shit with a single spell. Oh man. Like Wolfenstein New Colossus Maven difficulty. Oof. Nihais. This thing is resistant to rot. Whoa. Okay. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and do this little bit. Oh my god, that's why. There was a healer right there. Be frozen, skeleton. Heal. Magic. How is the main character interconnected with the mycelium network? Because they're a moving, living being. Magic, also reincarnation. The god touched my soul and gave me some of its godlike power. When I was being born. That's how godlikes work. They're not like traditional demigods, like, you know, Zeus saw a fine-looking lady kind of demigods. They are a god touched the child in the womb with their magic. And so I have a mushroom going on my face. It's basically my magic antenna. Think of this like my magic antenna. I'm wirelessly connected to the mycelium network via magic. You can tell because I have this wonderful flowery dish on top of my head. Oh man. It is basically a magic antenna. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. As long as it makes sense. If numbers are against me, the enemy counter gets turned to 100. What's all the frozen bodies in anguish? I gotta admit, the theme here is seeming a little apocalyptic. Or maybe that's just the red. And the spinning wheel. are hard through fair means. Challenges are hard through fair means. Yeah. Difficult versus challenging challenging is something that's designed to be beatable and was designed with it was designed difficultly with difficulty in mind. Whereas difficult is just, or really hard games are just games they up the numbers on for me.
I'll be worth it.
And don't get me wrong, you can have games that are both. There are games that are designed to be challenging but have additional modes where they up the numbers. But it also depends on how drastically the numbers up, I find. Like, one of the reasons Devil May Cry doesn't really bother as much, even though they have absurd difficulties where you're basically not supposed to even get hit because you'll just get, you know, wrecked. The problem with that is, though, they have, like, 1,000 difficulties, so there's so much gradient as you're moving up to it that they're slowly building up to the challenge. Whereas a lot of other games just go from 0 to 100. Like, you go from being able to tank, like, 5 enemy attacks in the hard mode to being able to take, like, 2 in ultra hard, you know? It's just such a drastic change, I find, a lot of times. Lol, Dante must die mode. Oh, cool. Illusionary water portal. Weird. Ooh, what do we have here? Is there a place for me to breathe around here? Because I'm a little bit running out of oxygen. Yep, there is. Seriously, why is there so much red lighting everywhere? Huh. Whoa. Oh my. Okay, well, curiosity might be the enemy here. Frick. You saw soak. Damage over time, bitches. Yeah. Gotcha. Devil May Cry doesn't have a single difficulty that intimidates me. There's one that I don't like, that's hell. Stalker ups the damage numbers on everything, so you die quicker, but so do enemies. See, I like that, though, because that rewards skill while punishing mistakes. That's good. I like that. That's a good way to do design. It still punishes the player, but doesn't make the bosses tanky. Because there's one thing I hate above all else, and this is something I just find unfun. It's enemies that take 1,000 hits to kill. I feel like there's something inherently wrong with the game when the enemy takes like 12 hits. Like when the enemy takes like more, if a non-boss enemy takes more than 12 to 20 attacks to kill, something feels off. And if a boss enemy takes over 100 hits to kill, something is wrong. Lol, Full Metal Fisting. Stealth is basically non-existent. All hail this. Alright, we're gonna eat some food while that's falling on there. Sorry, I'm just gonna come over here and eat some food real quick. Don't mind me. Ah, there we go. Alright. Rock! Gotcha! Is made for masochists. Again, I used to be 100%. I used to be a gamer who tried 100% games. I had my own spells of gaming masochism. Ironically, I turned to Dark Souls to get away from that. Because after I played Dark Souls, I realized all the hard modes I was playing were bullshit for cowards who just want to throw themselves needlessly until they get lucky or they get a perfect run. And die 1,000 times for no reason. Whereas Dark Souls, you're dying 1,000 times to improve your actual skills. And if you know what you're doing, if you're playing if that game is about juggling enemies, I want them to have as much health as possible. Dawnseeker, no. Isokso. Get blasted by my healing magic. We are the trio of mages. Who needs warriors and rogues? Mages for life. Mages for life here.
Anyone?
We're all mages down here. Ha 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 ha. Dawnseeker, yes. Oh. Oh, man. What the frick even is this? It's just like a weird... I actually don't know what's going on here with the texture. It's just like a weird glowing bit. It doesn't seem to be a shadow or refraction from anything. It just seems to be weird. Maybe it's just a weird ice texture? I don't know. Anyway, we should probably go find that head. And collect all the loot. The good loot. Note taken. Nerdo is a masochist. I mean, when it comes to video games, I'd have to say I probably am too.
You're here for my Audra piece, aren't you? You
Can't.
can't have it.
Who are you?
It's a pleasure to meet you too, dear.
I am, but that's beside the point.
Please, don't take it from me. I don't want to die.
That Audra piece is from the statue, isn't it? Why do you have it?
What statue? What are you talking about? Why shouldn't I have the Audra piece? It's mine.
Interesting.
This must be another illusion.
This must be another illusion.
Play Ninja Gaiden Sigma, then we'll talk on hard.
Their fear isn't.
I don't know what you're talking about. Just please let me keep this.
I mean, I played Prototype on hardcore mode. That was a freaking nightmare. I hated the game by the end. Wasn't expecting someone. Who are you?
I don't remember, but the Audra has kept me alive. Don't let them take it away.
Speaking of challenges, I've got like 5 weeks of kanji lessons for you saved up. Oh, fun. I'm taking it.
I told the other villagers I need it. I understand everyone's in danger. I don't want to die. Don't take the Audra piece from me.
Unfortunately, I do
My
need
life
it.
is worth nothing. Why must I die? Why am I the sacrifice?
Is it literally your heart?
Please, no.
If the village had been as sensible as you.
We've got the heart and the hand, which means this. must be
Okay.
the
Weird.
hand. Who is that?
That ought to be the final piece. Let's be done with this.
Low-key fun. A fun low-key Dark Souls type game is Little Witch No Beta.
Yes.
Good, I'll have to note that one. I do love... Actually, one game I really want to play from last year that I didn't get around to is Nine Souls. I've heard it's a really fun, like, 2D Souls-like.
Got all the pieces.
I love how they weren't nearby. I love how I got far enough away from the characters. You could see the way their models, like, popped into place. Because they teleported over here because I ran away from them. Okay. Interact. Ooh, teleportation. Nah, but I'm really curious, Dawnseeker. Why do you think Dante Must Die is for masochists?
That doesn't necessarily mean we're welcome.
Wow. Very nice Archmage, I guess. Autopsy too many of these things. No signs of them being the Surge of the Dream Surge, which makes no sense whatsoever. Must keep looking. For a fun few months, though. I mean, the Dryads don't seem like they're that bad. Wait, what? Lady, that's just rude. I don't care if you're working on stuff. Why are you summoning skeletons to kill us? Oh man, this is rude. She is rude. Hey, get away from me. Get, you stupid spirit. I'm really curious. Yeah, why do you think it's for masochists? I mean, it's a Devil May Cry game, so, like, I agree with you. But, like, I would like to hear your opinion. Ixoso. Yeah. All right. Got him. Ha ha ha. Wizards are not people dash persons. Wait, but I'm a wizard. That's very rude. Do I not count? Then again, I am a dragon, so I guess that is kind of true. But still, very rude. I need the healing, please. Alrighty. Let's pillar. Pillar drop. Okay. Ooh la la. We got shades. Didn't think so. Didn't think so. Oh man. Chuck a grenade. That's also grenades are also magic, right? Yeah. I hope this mage didn't want her book safe. Wait. Let me see Slee actually. No, okay, she didn't protect her books. That's her problem then. Oh no, not the weird creepy aura, not the siphon aura. I refuse. Got him. Oh my god. Yes. Aha, let's just put a pin and throw it. Yeah, just pull the pin and throw. Let's see here. Lightning grenade. Organic grenade. These are organic lightning grenades. All natural. All natural lightning grenades. Actually, let's go ahead and switch my lightning wand. Because this thing is really resistant to frost. Yes! Oh my god, these frickin' skeleton priests, I swear. Personally, if you decide to play Little Legend of Bella, make sure to do it on hard mode, because option easy mode gives you too many buffs. Is it only easy and hard? Because I generally prefer, like, normal difficulty or, like, intended difficulty. Because that's usually what the game is actually balanced for. Alright. Hit him. Oh, back up. Oh my god, seriously. These guys do not end. Alright, mister. You gotta die here. There we go. Ugh. That's right, every time I kill one of them, they just, like, pop up more. Hey, mage, are you gonna be finished with your freaking books yet, or no? Can you come actually talk to us? We came all this way. Only easy or hard. Easy is for players who just want to get the story, but don't want to care for challenge. I guess it's fine that there's a version of the game like that. I don't know. There's no way to say I don't like easy modes without sounding like an asshole, so I just prefer not to say it. Like, if you don't want to play a game, fine. Like, I've never really seen... Here's the thing. People argue that people should be able to experience the story of games, but some of the times the story is woven into the difficulty. Like, Dark Souls is all about overcoming challenges despite the obstacles in front of you. So it's like, if you don't actually have a challenge, what's the frickin' point? Tyrian 2000 stream win. Not sure what that even means. Not really. Sometimes it's hard to judge difficulty it's actually balanced for. It's hard is usually still fair. Depends heavily on the game. There are some hard modes that are stupid. Mostly games that don't have like an ultra hard or a regular hard, so they try and make the hard mode their ultra challenging one. I'm trying to think of an example. I know there are struggling to think of like the exact games I'm thinking of. Okay, Ringgren. So, well, wow, she's like full on Ice Queen with like the black ice crystals in her head and everything.
A godlike of an unknown deer.
You know, I kind of like their take on Archmage, actually. I feel like this is how an Archmage would look. She's got, like, crystals all over, taped onto her armor, like she just plucks them off to use as random shit. Like she uses ammo or magical reagents. She's got arcane tattoos all over her face. This is very Archmage-y of her. I like it. Well, okay, a bit more, like, necromancer-y, but, like, you know, your Archmage differs.
My little puzzle was very clever, wasn't it?
It's more of an average. It's more of average. I think you're a little bit overestimating the annoyance of some tanky enemies. Again, my main problem with hard modes is the tanky enemies. It's just annoying, especially in shooters. Good gods, in first-person shooters, hard modes are like just a reason to have tanky enemies that take like 1,000 headshots to kill.
What did you think?
One difficulty is to adapt under your action engagement like MGSV without blowing up supply missions, so enemies have a harder time to counter you. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you want a harder difficulty in some games, you can always make challenges. They don't need to pump up the enemy numbers. That you're a monster with a strange sense of humor.
Like you. Most people wouldn't dare mouth off to an arch.
Modern military and also stuff like Gears of War, which I haven't played a ton of. I've only played a few times, but every time I select hard mode, it's like, oh my god. I would also put Halo in that description. I like it, but that's partially because I have Stockholm Syndrome.
If it comes to it, yes. I hope
first release, it was humorously called Lolly Dark Souls.
more than
I mean, a lot of games are called something Dark Souls these days. It's a good way to set to aim directly at the hardcore audience and be like, "Hey, look at us! Look at us! Look at us!"
It's what we leave behind. What matters is that our lives buy the world more history, more beauty, more time to create interesting
Things. You
To
understand?
understand.
Okay. Hard mode in CODs or Gears usually just makes you wait longer. Yeah. But only because it requires you to learn and adapt. That's good. I like that, though. I do like that. I think so. You're preparing me for
A
something.
conversation with me, primarily. Most people find it difficult to relate to an archmage, and if you cannot do so, it will complicate my attempts to communicate with you.
Okay.
I hope you're not intending to enter the ruins.
I won't open the path.
I won't open the path,
The entire fate of the Living Lands is in jeopardy.
and has been for some time. That is why
The motherfucker said Skyrim Reunited is Dark
I
Souls.
came to
Yeah.
the Living Lands because the sickness here, this dream scourge, fascinating.
All the random arcane symbols just floating in the air behind me.
It can't, and yet it does. The essence of the Living Lands is falling into chaos.
Well, entropy is never a good thing.
It's more powerful than anything I've seen.
I suspect
it has
something
something
to do with how the Ardra has
has
been
been
severed from the rest
of the world.
Oh, she actually knows about
I
that.
believe the answers lie in the ruins, but the essence there is so strong it's
Blocking my spell work.
which has
Like, for example, you have a stamina bar, and if you try and dodge around when it's empty, you'll trip.
no one enters.
Yeah, it's one of the things I got on Black Myth Wukong for. There's not enough punishment if you try and use an empty stamina bar. Dark Souls actually does have some things, like where you'll just like if you try and use an item, sometimes if you can't use, it'll like bounce off things. That isn't true.
Curiouser and curiouser.
What is so special about you,
What
God?
is so special about you, godlike? You have
I always love it when there's like a failure animation that locks you into it if you try and do something dumb, like wear super heavy armor. The Living Lands has a god named Sapadal, and I am their godlike.
Are you? Oh my.
Best of people in games actually trying to screw you over, but you can counter it, and the game can counter you as well. Yeah.
I can't believe I overlooked this.
You know, I still really want something like the Freeze fight, the Mr. Freeze fight in Batman Arkham Asylum, where you have a boss that's actively like learns the cheese and protects itself from the cheese moves. Like, holy shit. Why is no one... I know the reason why no one's done it is that it's difficult. I get that. But please let us do this. Please let us see this again. I want more fights like that ever again. That was like one of the coolest things ever, where you had to actually figure out new ways to get to him. And we'd adapt and make it so you couldn't do the same thing over and over again. But in order to do that, you have to have a reaction for everything the player can do, which is hard. So I get it. Then let me in. You can have the ruins, and I can find the way to the garden.
Don't take this the wrong way, but in a different life, I'd have flayed you for my study.
Oh,
You
fun.
are a godlike of this strange, isolated, possibly miserable god. A
Piece of them resides in you.
I have no doubt that like will recognize like.
Oh,
You
fun.
will open the gates to Naku Kubel, and I will study this metaphysical.
Okay,
evolution
cool.
of
Sounds like we get everything we want.
Go. Find your so-called garden. Report your findings to me.
Ninja Gaiden is a bit like that, on a smaller scale, of course. Yeah, yeah. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't think regular enemies should be doing it too often, because that would get really tedious. And there's a good rhythm to get into with normal enemies, but with a boss fight, oh my gods, I've wanted it for so long. Just, like, the idea of not just doing the same thing 15,000 times to kill the boss, of actually having to adapt in a fight and fight like a semi-intelligent enemy. It's one of the reasons why I go after PvP fights. Because, like, in a PvP fight...
My thanks in return, godlike. It's not often that Kith or...
It really just, like, the thing for me is that, like, PvP in Dark Souls games, you all have the same tools. And an enemy who's smart enough, there are plenty of enemies who are not, but an enemy who's smart enough will actually, like, learn what you're doing and adapt. So you can't just spam the same thing over and over again, unless they're just bad at the game. But eventually you run into people who are not, and those people are the most fun to fight. That's reassuring.
I only intended it to be factual. And you
It's very useful if you can get the timing down.
seem a
Ooh.
clever one.
I do like parry effects. Is it a ranged parry like a gun parry in Bloodborne, or is it like a, you know, a counterspell you shoot, or is it like a shield parry where you have to be in melee range already? I generally prefer ranged counter magic because it lets you take advantage of opportunities when the enemy is like spamming stuff or widely swinging. Lets you punish them for openings. But I also do parry when I can.
Be careful with that thing.
Knows what he can do. Just to be sure, you actually do know where the ruins are, right?
There's no shame in ignorance, envoy. Only a denial of such. Either way, I do know where they are.
Okay.
The ruins are far in the northwest. The people here have named that area the Deadfall Highlands.
Oh yeah, that's a pleasant sounding
No more
place.
wasting time. Off you go. Use the teleporter behind me to leave. Or jump, I suppose.
Well, we got her grimoire, I think. I thought we did. Unless she gave us her grimoire. I guess not.
If you're feeling grim.
This would make a nice parlor if you got rid of the corpses.
Corpses. We got rid of the corpses. Basically, it's both the range. Yakuza is an interesting topic because you actually need every advantage you have against enemy wards. In older entries, of course, there's fear as AI. That is also something I've noticed. Is games tend to get, like, games in a franchise tend to have a, like, after a certain point, tend to get easier because they grow an audience of hardcore fans. And then more normal people come, and as the games get popular and people talk about how great they are, more and more people are like, but I can't beat the first boss. And I'm like, then don't play it. The game's not meant for you. Games aren't meant for everybody. Some games are not meant for every person. I'm saying this because Elden Ring is turning into a co-op game, and I'm really, really worried about it. Look, I trust From Software. I have trusted them for a long time. They are a good studio. But I'm really nervous that From Software is going to start down the dark path of courting the casual audience, and it's going to make the games worse.
Isn't it the most beautiful thing you've ever seen?
Well, few have faced an archmage and live.
You were incredible. Thank you.
Basically, fills a range physical, but you need to activate at the moment between his attacks, so the timing difference between enemies. 7 counter will restore MP in a very small value. That's a really good reward. Giving you more survival for risk is a really nice reward and a really nice way to repay skill. Sometimes not just new audience, but gameplay refinements that make game easy and it was designed to be hard. Yeah, there is something like that actually in Elden Ring. So one of the things in Elden Ring that was like really controversial, which I don't actually think is, I think it was one of the ways they kind of made the game more newbie friendly without ruining it to an extent, is that what they did was they allowed you to summon spirit summons. And spirit summons are basically, hey, I want a co-op, but I don't have any friends for a friend code, and I don't like just grabbing randos. Can I actually just summon a creature that I can level up? It's like, alright, fine, you get one spirit summon. And it's like, okay, that works. It's basically just to allow people to do multiplayer co-op, essentially, offline. You get a co-op partner that can do stuff. Except this time it's a floating jellyfish or a mimic copy of yourself. All the mimic tier is really just dumb and broken. It makes the game a lot easier. Even if I used it, after the first boss run, I usually stop using it because I want to challenge myself. I've now killed Radon and Mikola without the mimic tier. Actually, I killed it using a dual-wielding sword thing a while back. No, not dual-wielding sword. I killed it using, what was it, miracles, I've killed it using sorceries, and I've killed them using, bleed build. So, I've done, like, the full gambit now. Oh. I can dual-wield wands! Dual-wielding wands. No, we're not doing that. Alright, offhand, flip, Nicholas Conduit. Alright, so where did this actually go? It goes... Ah, skeletons. Believe it or not, Trios to Yakuza, that's badass. I mean, like, again, once you get used to them... Actually, I even found a way to deal with their bullshit AoE laser blast thing. It actually was really obvious, too. There's a there's a tier, a crystal tier, that lets you turn elemental damage into health for a brief amount of a few seconds. And if you drink that during the transition, you can literally just, like, absorb the damage into health. It's ridiculously good. Oh, man. Oh, shoot. Where's that stupid priest? There he goes. Why don't you dual wield them? Because this reduces my spell cost. The Grimoire reduces spell cost, and lets me cast more powerful variants of them. Basically, it acts like a free skill point in all the spells that you have in it when you cast them using the Grimoire. It also reduces the cost of mana they cost to cast, which is really, really nice. That's why I've been doing it like this. Alright. Just pummeling this guy. He hides. Now I want to talk, see tale about Spellslinger. Spellcrafting games are interesting. I think Anoida is still one of my favorites. I haven't like fully. I don't think I've fully beat Anoida yet. I haven't ever gotten past like jungle level. I still play it once. I think I played it like once or twice a while back, and I'm gonna play it probably a bit if I ever go on like a trip because it's a really like low specs game, which is nice for when you're on the go and on a laptop without a solid power source. Noida has one of the best spellcrafting systems, just hands down. I loved Oblivion for its spellcrafting system. Love shooting the Stinger of Light Energy. I love games that make mages feel like mages. Hellsinging Bard using an instrument like Atar and Brutal Legend. So, should we prepare for the half-breed dragon offspring? Because, you know, you are playing a bard. I just want to know what kind of bard we're talking about here before I commit. Are we talking about a bard, or are we talking about a bard? You know? Oh, man. Yep. Get died. And get frozen. Boom. Boom. There we go. Here we go. Here we go. He's gonna be badass. That's all you need to know. That's all I know.
Not bad for a scholar.
Alright. Cool, we're up. Oh, we gotta find the other boxes to open this door, I guess. I'm sorry, this texture just looks stretched and wrong. They definitely just had, like, one texture and stretched it over stuff. Like, the more I look at it, the more certain I am. Alright, we gotta... You know, I've never been a fan of the puzzles where you have to, like, follow the pipe. I don't know, something about it just seems boring. It's like, oh yeah, just follow the pipe. It's like, just give me a quest marker at this point. Not that interesting. Alright. Here's the power box. Fire at it. It's not really a puzzle so much as it is, hey, go to these 3 spots. Look, follow the line. Unless you make getting there an actual challenge. I say that, and then this happens, so maybe they actually do know something about making it a challenge, or is it just something I'm missing? Oh, I just have to go up here. No, it's literally a path. You just go up the path. Oh my god. They literally are like a straight line, and you can actually find all 3 of them if you just follow that path. Magic sticks. That's so Wolfenstein, yet we never saw this in Wolfenstein. Dual-wielding magic can be fun. It's one of the things I liked about Skyrim, is that you could either dual-wield 2 different spells, or, you know, you could essentially take it and use one spell in one hand and the other spell in the other hand. Actually, one of my favorite Skyrim mods was a mod that lets you... Oh, here it is. Lets you just load up... It basically was a spell that could, like, grab other spells and cast them in order. So, like, the first cast would do the first spell, the second cast would do the second spell, the third cast would do the third spell. And it would, like, cycle through them. It was really fun. It also had auto-cast, where you could queue up a spell to auto-cast at the beginning of combat or whatever. It was all really cool. I liked it a lot. Also, I love how I'm taking the electric stick into the water. It doesn't immediately fry me. I'd have more respect for the game if when this went into the water, it immediately set everything electric. But it doesn't. Boo. Corvast and Matt were discussing making a homunculus. I don't think they were discussing making a homunculus. I think they were discussing, well, augmenting a human being. I think they were still going to use a living person as a base, so I don't think that counts as a homunculus, since a homunculus is an artificial human being. They are working on that. My party got a hold of a book, a cursed book in the Madness Archives game that can allow you to sculpt flesh, and a resident arcane insane person is going to use it to do unfortunate things, like create a mantis shrimp arm. Assassin's Blade. Doesn't even insta-kill them anymore. I'm so disappointed with that. I was expecting maybe more if it at least let me get off like a single insta-kill before combat, but it's like variable insta-kill based on enemy level. It's like, what is this, modern Assassin's Creed? I want old Assassin's Creed. God. You know what the worst part is? I actually played Assassin's Creed Black Flag on the PS4. I didn't play it, like... I played the remaster on the PS4, and I loved it so much. It was such a good game. And then I played modern Assassin's Creed, like, I think I played a bit of Origin, I was immediately like, ew, gross. It's like, the entire point of Assassin's Creed didn't involve around levels. We kidnapped someone and regress them to be Corvast's servant. Okay. When did this discussion come up? Because I'm actually a little bit, I'm a little bit worried now that the DM wasn't involved in this. When was this conversation occurring? Because I don't remember being a part of this conversation. And I'm a little worried about what's happened while I was gone. Just now. Oh, gods. Hello, is Matt listening? Because Matt needs to chill his freaking roll. We already talked about this, Matt. It doesn't affect the brain. You can't just mess with somebody's brain. I'm not letting you have mental control as well. That's too much spider. He can't manipulate the mind. I've already told him this. Kill the priest. Kill the priest. Big Soxo. Got him. Healing touch. We just use Ice Pick for that, don't worry. I feel like I really should worry. This is what my players are like. The DM madness really is real. It grows and consumes you slowly over time. There's an item there, but I guess I can't pick it up yet. My gods. More rangers popping out of the woodwork. You know, I feel like if they're gonna spawn more enemies throughout a fight, they could at least, like, have them being corpses on the ground. If I hit them, they wake up. This whole popping out of thin air thing is really undignified. I just frosted him to death. Current plan for Demon Souls was to make dual-wielding Berserk with Katana, Claymore Magic Shield alternatively. The frick is wrong with you? I mean, like, you can also just, like, use a Katana in your two-handed grip, and it'll probably be just as effective, if not more. The main reason to offhand weapons is for, like, secondary buffs, like using the Grass Shield in order to, in order to gain extra stamina regen and stuff like that. Or using the Crisp Blade for more magic damage, but you take more magic damage in turn. I mean, don't use that example, though, because magic damage is, like, the GOAT in Demon Souls. It makes every other playthrough look pathetic in comparison. Not in a difficulty way, in a, oh my god, this game is a piece, just, like, so easy. Especially because Demon Souls was a game where you could like, you could have, like, unlimited grasses and spices on you. So with magic, you could regenerate your spellcast, like, infinitely. It was dumb. Because I like Berserk, I like Katanas, I like dual wield, I like dual sword fighting long and short range. It's gonna be a really bad build. Mostly because the Uchi Katana and most of the other katanas aren't really strength heavy, they're pretty dex heavy weapons. So, like, you're gonna be fighting against each other.
Why can't the way forward in science?
Wait, I thought... Wasn't this path blocked by, like, a barrier or some shit? Oh, no, wait, that was Tago's Tower.
Oh, hello.
Oh, how are you?
I wasn't expecting to see anyone this far from Thirdborn. Are you... Your face.
Yes, I'm a godlike, alright.
Godlike. That makes perfect sense.
You thought I was gonna be a dream scourge, didn't you?
A guide in Thirdborn who'd take me here. But meeting you makes it all worth it.
Glad I could help?
Oh, you have. Oh, you'll make a very interesting footnote.
A footnote? I deserve an entire chapter.
And I'm working on a compendium of the different types of fungus in the living lands. Sure enough, what happens as soon as I show up? A fungus-based illness.
You know, this really is a mycologist's dream place, isn't it? The destruction to the local ecosystem is nothing short of fascinating.
See? You understand. That's why I had to document it.
This really is a mycologist's dreamland.
Scourge is not a fungal infection, though at times it does resemble one. Trust me, it's far worse. Imagine a soul rotting from within, rampant with disease, alive yet putrid.
Oh, really? Huh.
Well, that's disappointing.
Well, that's disappointing.
I love how she's like, she's not even upset. It's like, oh, that's
I'm
disappointing.
having some trouble with the sporlings. But I'm finding that the ambulatory ones aren't quite as, friendly. In fact, they're
Murderous
quite
little mushroom
dangerous.
people. Like Toad
I
got the
don't wanna be
rabies.
against harming them, but please kill the sporlings before they kill me.
Thank you. Alright, say no more.
Well, good luck. Oh, I've got to write these measurements down before I forget.
Wait, were you measuring my fungal growth while we were talking? She was measuring the fungus on my face while we were talking, wasn't she? Freeze! Alright, cool. Whee! Let's see here. Journal, quests. I've got a lot of quests, don't I? Oh, shoot. I didn't collect proof of my kill. Uh-oh. Where was that? Frick. God damn it. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I can't remember where I killed Captain Targo. Oh wait, no, it was back here. It's back this way. Okay, okay. Best viewers on stream, remove space. Oh god, there's so many bots. I feel like Twitch is full of nothing but bots sometimes. Like, it's starting to, it feels like every viewer I get from Twitch is just a bot. Unfortunately. I wish not, but it is true. Ooh. You know, I will say, I do still like the art design in this game, generally speaking. The desert is probably one of the places I'm like, eh. But generally speaking, it's a very vibrant and alive world, in a way that a lot of fantasy worlds can come across as dull as they go for realism. This one is like, screw it, I'll have primary colors everywhere. And pinks and reds and florals and oranges and just everything is going to be so vibrant and alive. Too alive! Now this fungus is trying to bounce around the ground and kill you. Or artist. I was talking about dual wielding in Souls. Oh, my PC randomly and magically shutting itself down. Anyways, I don't need to make this work even broken. I was talking about dual Souls. I mean, eventually dual wielding gets good. There's technically even some mild support for an OG Dark Souls. We need to figure out where like the Captain Tago is. Oosh. Hit him hard. Don't look back. Drop the pillar on their head. Blast. Nice. Okay, what's my main quest? Shadows of the Past. Dispel Ringworm's barrier. Proceed to the Gods regions in the Northwest region. So, I'm guessing that... I guess I am doing this in the middle of a fight. I'm guessing that means we're going to be going all the way up here or here. Northwest. So that'd be the Northwest region over here, probably. Alright. Yosh. Got it. Let's go, little skeleton. The little monks are no issue to me. On seek. Only thing I do regret is that, like, you have to take Magic Missile as a first spell. Spells in this game, you can, using on the Grimoire gives you, like, a certain level in them. Also, the Wizard has more skills, about as many skill points requirements as the Fighter and the Ranger combined. I checked. It's about, like, if I remember correctly, it's, like, 40-something for Ranger. No, not 40-something. It's, like, 50 or something like that for Ranger and for Fighter. But for Wizard, it's like 80, and it's just like, oh, because of all the different elemental types. It's like, yeah, including the incomplete ones, like the weird cycle of like 3 magic weapons and like the 1 poison spell. There's literally 1 poison spell, and I'm like, why even have a poison spell if you only have 1 poison spell? And then they have like this whole line of like arcane spells, which I guess is complete. They have this like guard spell up here and this protector spell here, and then these like 3 elemental barrier shit. The magic system just feels like it's missing a few spells. I still don't understand why this poison spell is here. I actually don't understand why it's here. If you're going for like a pure magic, if you're going for magic at all, like I don't understand why you do poison and health drain in one. It feels like they had health, they had drain health, and they had poison spray, and they're like, just combine the 2 together. It's fine. Dual wielding is always badass. I mean, it always looks badass, but there's a reason why people 2-hand their weapons. But we're going for fantasy, not for reality, so. Ooh, wait, there was a body I missed over here. Where? Oh, there it is. There it's Captain Cargo. I found his femur. Wait, we grabbed his right. Why do you have to specify his right femur? It's like, oh yes, you grabbed his right femur. Okay, so that was one last drink. What do we go for? Bounty. Is it... I'm trying to figure out where the next part of the current quest is. Heart of Valor. Where's Shadows of the Past? So that's this direction. Oh, okay, I see. It's over here by the Deadfall. Actually, dual wielding is historical and has effective uses. I mean, yeah, dual wielding has had uses, don't get me wrong. It's just like, generally speaking, it's both cheaper and more efficient to arm your soldiers with either a single weapon or a weapon and a shield. Though, typically, shields are very different than how they're displayed in fantasies. Like, the Great Shield is most of the time based off, like, the Roman formations, where they'd have the big tower shields and spears. Or the big tower shields and their gladius and spears. The buckler is interesting, but it doesn't really cover your body. It's more for like, it's more like an active shield that can also be used as a weapon. Yeah, that's actually something I learned recently. Is that from a guy from his history YouTube videos. Apparently, the buckler could also be used as a weapon because it's like a metal disc. You punch somebody with it, and it does a lot of damage. But we always see it as like the parrying shield, which I guess sort of is like punching. You're like grabbing the weapon and forcing it away. But like, apparently you could actually use this as an offensive weapon as well as a limited blocking tool. Doesn't cover as much of your body though. But because it's small, the metal wasn't too heavy because it didn't have to be as big, which meant it could do a lot more damage. Alrighty. I have not explored anywhere near enough of this area, but I do kind of want to head to the next part. What time is it? It's 8:15. You know what? Let's go kill some other bounties. Oh, I must have killed this one, just like not collected the thing. I keep doing that with the bounties. Sensi Oasis. Also easier to carry. Yeah. Giant tower shields are like probably like super uncomfortable. I've never carried one personally, but I have carried large awkward things. Like I had a violin I had to carry with me for classes. Even the few times I had like a backstrap for it. It's just a very awkward, heavy thing to carry, and it makes moving really difficult. You know? Like, would I want to do this? Probably not. Go swimming. Swimming, swimming, swimming. You know, there is no game that has had better swimming, though, than Subnautica. Just hands down. Subnautica felt alive when you swam. It felt great. I mean, that was like most of the game, so it makes sense. They spend a lot of time on it. Swimming in most games is a brief detour. It's something they don't really spend a lot of effort on because it's not the main focus of the game, you know? Hello. Alright. Die, Mr. Priest. Alright. There we go. Unseek. Aha! Get needled. Ooh, of possible graduation announcements for my Hololive Oshi Mume. Could also be a large... long hiatus. Hopefully it's the latter. Yeah. You know, I still can't believe MatPat's technically retired. I know MatPat still does stuff, and he still, like, appears in videos from time to time, and still, like, runs the game theory and film theory channels. But I do miss MatPat. I was actually... I really like his videos. I think he's, like, has a good personality for, like, you know, his persona. I don't know much about him personally. I've heard he's a good person, but I've never met him, so, you know. But he's always been... His videos were always fun and enjoyable, I found. His stuff is good. I've missed him. I've watched some of the new Game Theory guy. The Game Theory and the new person they got to take over for Game Theory. I don't remember the name yet because like MatPat was so easy to remember for me because I've been around watching his videos for so long. But the new person got to take over Game Theory I like. I'm not as much of a fan of the other channels anymore. I mostly watched them because MatPat was doing them. Film Theory in general, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't know. The energy of the host is just not the same. Graduation for VTubers often means they go indie. Problem is if Mume leaves and I can't follow because I can't handle character changes. Oh, right, because the character is likely owned by the Hololive studio, huh? So Mume's got to get a new character. Oh man, what would I freaking do if I had to get rid of Ramble? Oh my gods. No, I want to be Ramble forever. Oh gods. Well, guys, it looks like we can finally add a falling death for the first time in a long time. I have died via falling. I don't even know what that person's supposed to be saying in Nerd Dragon. I actually don't. What the frick? What do any of those three... I will always see her as formerly Mume, and I feel like that's disrespectful. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I mean, like, I have a hard time letting go of some voice actors or personas. I mean, I can't even admit that Twitter is no longer Twitter, because it's not Twitter. It is still Twitter. X does not exist. It can't hurt me.
Look around. The cartographer can't have gone far.
Like, look at this. This is just things they didn't have to do. They could have just made a normal rock ceiling for here. Instead, they get this weird glowing shit at the top with these, like, weird fungal growths coming out of the ceiling. They did not have to design the world like this. They could have made it boring, normal rock. Nobody would have faulted them. But instead, they added all this shit, and it looks great. Like, look at this. Bring it up in our new community. Let's just change wash over you. Let change wash over you. Gods, I'm gonna... You know what? In a few years, Mark Hamill's gonna die. And then we're gonna have to deal with Jokers being cast in animated series that aren't Mark Hamill. I mean, I know we've already had live-action Jokers that aren't Mark Hamill. But, like... Because, you know, he didn't really do Jokers in live-action. But... Like, I'm not sure I can handle animated Jokers that aren't Mark Hamill. I'm actually not sure I can do it. He's been the voice of the Joker for so long. You know? And he's so good at it. I'm not sure what will happen when I have to deal with that fact. It's not a win. It's not an if. It's a win. Like, he's getting on in years. He might not even die. He might just decide he doesn't want to do voice acting anymore. Oh, also, I did see the Looney Tunes movie. I think I mentioned that. I think I mentioned that earlier, but it is good. It is good. I think I mentioned the Looney Tunes movie a bit last time. The alien's plan and goal are hilarious. It is very much classic Looney Tunes. If you like comedic Looney Tunes, you will like this movie. Mark Hamill gonna die? What do I missed? Mark Hamill is getting old, and eventually he will no longer voice the Joker. Eventually, one day, like Student Assembly mentioned, change is inevitable. Let it wash over you. And I'm like, no, I can't deal with that. Because I actually like DC's animated stuff to a degree, and, you know, whenever I see the Joker, I'm like, oh, good old Mark Hamill's gonna be here to give us that famous laugh. Mark Hamill has done just so much stuff. He's one of those actors that I actually, like, respect for being both an actor and a voice actor, and being good at both of them. Because a lot of actors think they can be a voice actor, but they're just, like, okay at it. Mark Hamill and... I guess Jack Black, too, but Jack Black doesn't really play characters. He plays Jack Black as a character. He's good at voice acting, don't get me wrong, but, like, he also doesn't play things other than Jack Black. Oh, one of my past reincarnations! I see an ancient shrine on this rock. Do people worship here? Because it's a principle matter. If I can't view them as their new character, it's better for me to let them go. Now she's indie and able to play games like The Sims and Sims 2. Did it sync?
Now our memory is a wound reopened. You are
Nimana. Speak for us. Gift show. I don't have a mushroom on my face in this one. The
souls of the departed
dead. Oh, I was an animancer. In a previous life, I was an animancer. Okay.
What did you make of the songs they sang?
Interesting. Give messages from the dead. Comfort.
A conduit.
Hey, look, souls are real in this universe, so being a psychic isn't a scam.
A voice called you to the wilds outside your village. Find us in the highest heights, we said.
Huh.
Come.
Speak to us. This Hololight talent usually requires permission to play specific games, which limits what games they can play on stream. Oh! That kind of... I can see why they would want to do other stuff, then. Yeah, I can see why they'd want to go indie. I relish the solitude. I was beholden to no one myself.
Reflect. The body fights to survive, but the mind is clear. One day...
You came to a place where stones chances clouds.
Night fell.
I love these little animatics of my... I love these little, like, visions of my past life. This is actually one of the really cool things this game did, because I thought the whole reincarnation thing was just going to be an afterthought to the world building, but it's actually a core part of the game where you're, like, not just experiencing the current issues, but you're also finding more about your history with Sapadal, because you've always been her godlike. In every reality, every time you're reborn, she finds you again. We were your finest achievement. You wanted us to be great. The Akida already were. The Akida already were.
You sailed home to the village eager to share what you had seen. We prickled.
Something was wrong.
Trouble like
You were once a great leader, and then another time you were a rebuilder, a reformer. And now you're like a vision quester. You've always had a
tremendous temple.
Okay.
They offered us their stores of food.
I mean, Sapadal didn't really need their food. You never asked to be revered that way.
The falcon clipped its wings. They feared you. They feared us. They tried to placate, to control. Your eyes turned up. You saw a statue, a prison. This was not our form. Oh, wellspring. Our cry rose in your throat. This
Uh-oh.
did not stand.
Uh-oh. I mean, I could do either one, but I tore the statue down.
Stone smashed on tile. They shuddered. The people's hearts inflamed. They brought their fists upon you. How could you turn against your own?
I felt a duty to protect you.
Duty? Obligation? Dread? Brown
Is this where the... Oh, wow.
brick.
This is a freaking cool image. Holy shit.
Why?
A catastrophe. You're speaking in the present. What's happening now?
We fall. We fall.
Whoa. This is good. I like this. Think clearly. Something here is something hurting you.
No. We feel nothing.
This is, like, great imagery. I love this. It's like the terror of a god's size. You can almost make out a face wrapped in the storm clouds over here. Teeth and eyes and bits and whispers. Maybe a hand over here or something reaching out.
We did this.
Let's hope the new Joker can match him, but also dying of old age and sandstone, so you never actually know when time's gonna come. Yeah, remember Carrie Fisher. We did this. Why hurt yourself in the godless? How did that help anything?
Purge the poison. Let it out.
No money to be made from going after small creators, but get big enough and you will be targeted. All of us still small, they let their talent play what games they wanted. Now about Nimana.
The sun rose on the barren earth. The village had tumbled down the chasm. Only ruins remained.
Huh.
The few who survived faced the wilds, their new home. Hunger, blistered feet. Clouds parted.
Hatred gave way to desperation. They looked to you. I taught them how to survive.
Wisdom, the purest offering. People again condemned to wander. A village, one day rebuilt.
Okay.
In time, all those who spoke for us came to Thirdborn
Or
to
face their fate.
Edition without memory,
A trial of unknown.
lineage.
Since Hollywood was a Japanese company, they had Japanese use. Yeah, Japanese use and copyright are a big deal. Like, it's why Nintendo goes after people, which is they don't believe that fair use exists.
Together,
By Japanese law standards, fair use, like for reviews and stuff like that, doesn't exist. If a company doesn't want you to play their clips, you are not allowed to play their clips. That's why Nintendo is so vigorous with their lawsuits, because they actually just do not see the U.S., you know, free use under like certain exemptions as a thing. I care about now. Perms are Japanese ones. No. I know that care about perms are Japanese ones. with getting permissions is because they were hit with a wave of copyright strikes and had other talents channels taken down. I'm really getting sick of Content ID though, because like I sent in the reply and they did not even look at it. I literally sent it in earlier today, and within an hour, the request was already sent back. Like they didn't even. I don't even think they read it. I think it's like an auto reply thing. It literally was just like I sent it in and oh, game crashed. Okay, I'm gonna have to take points off that for that, Avowed. You've been very buggy, and you think you've. I feel like this game has crashed at least one time every stream. Like, I really do. I still like the story, though. I like the story. I like the images they use for these cutscenes. Just really fun. Also, the other thing I've noticed is that the Steam overlay doesn't work in this game. It says it will, but I've been using Steam Shift Tab, and I wanted to record some footage a while back on it using the Steam recorder, and apparently it just doesn't work. None of the Steam overlay stuff is working in Avowed, which is really weird. 3 times so far, as far as I remember, it crashed. That's not what I asked. No, he was talking to me, Code into Simply. He's talking to me. Specific channels I can tech. What are some specific examples you have? Oh, to TDL. Never mind. Yep. Okay. So we found out about another reincarnation of ourselves. I like that. It's always very interesting learning what I did in a past life. I do find it interesting that the godlike seem to be reincarnated as godlike, which implies that they're always reincarnated as godlike, and the gods specifically only let their souls reborn. Doesn't that mean like all that the god that you know all the godlike who have ever been of like a certain god are probably the same person for each god getting reborn over and over again? Like they say it's different people. If it's constant reincarnation, wouldn't that most likely mean it's the same like 2 to 3 people constantly getting reborn? I'm not certain about that, but that seems like it would be accurate because it can't be too many others, right? Maybe there are. Maybe I'm just crazy. Alright, let's get down from here without dying. I'd rather not go all this time and die 1 time to fall damage, only to die a 2nd time in the same video that I died the first one. Alright, there we go. Man, this game lets you jump. This character did not skip leg day. Like, look at this. My character did not skip leg day at all. Pretty for V Shoujo doesn't care. I don't know of any other large YouTuber orgs that aren't Japanese. I love how you called them orgs, which is a term I've never heard used outside of, I know you just mean organization, but I've never heard it said that way outside of, like, the description of, EVE Online companies. Or Cyberpunk, or Cyberpunk companies. Like, those are literally the 2 times I've ever heard it, is for Cyberpunk and for EVE Online. Not Cyberpunk the franchise, by the way. Cyberpunk the subgenre. Lol. What? It's true. Name me a place outside of Cyberpunk and EVE Online that you've heard that shortening of that word. Oh man. Yeah, because they're based in the US. I mean, I can't speak for Japanese VTubers, but I will say Japanese copyright law is way more stringent than the US. Oh, the enemy actually backed away from the AoE attack. Minor amount of pseudo-intelligence there. Alright. Blast. Oh, we're just bullying this poor guy with magic bullets. This poor zombie getting bullied by us. There is no fair use in Japan. Exactly. You are right about that. Alright, let's try sneaky sneaky. I mean, sneaky sneaky in this game isn't really sneaky sneaky because you can sneak past something, but the moment you get into combat, like from sneak attacking something, you're instantly spotted by everything around you. Unless they're too far away or something like that. And it's not really a good way to isolate people because there aren't a ton of like noise distracting objects that will draw everyone's attention immediately. I do like these little parkouring sections where we had to like climb all over shit. It's fun because we actually feel like we have momentum. Look at that, I didn't slow down at all. Alright, got it. Ah, High Priest. Let's freeze him in place. Oh no. Gotcha, buddy. Oh, it was Nintendo sent copyright notices. That doesn't really count, though. They go after anyone, no matter how small. Well, yeah, Nintendo is also a Japanese company, and they will go after literally anyone. I mean, they've gone after, like, people who just, like, have local Smash tournaments before, you know? Remember those rules they sent out a while back over, like, how big you have your Smash tournaments and how big the prize pool could be, and whether or not you could sell concessions? It's like, dude, we're gonna put a GameCube in a room, we're gonna play Smash together. Get the hell out of here, Nintendo. We don't need your approval for that. I'm sorry. We don't need your approval to have a Smash tournament. We can decide we'd like to do a tournament with a game we bought. Ugh. I think that was actually one of the dumbest IP controls Nintendo has ever tried to do. That and their what was it, the YouTuber program or whatever they tried to make, where they were like, we want to approve your videos. Like, no, we're not going to let you approve our reviews when you're not sponsoring us. Like, nobody would do that. Nintendo is weird because I like them as game designers, don't get me wrong. As game designers, Nintendo are still some of the best. But, like, their legal department needs to get their heads out of their asses. It's weird because I almost feel like they're two different parts of the company, which they are. You know, the people who design the games don't necessarily make the legal decisions. I get that, but it's hard to fully separate the two in my head sometimes. Which is why I have a hard time saying I'm a Nintendo fan, per se. Like, I like their games, but also I will criticize their decisions to hell and back constantly. Although, like, I get that fan has been used to, like, describe people who don't criticize companies they like, but at the same time, I feel like an actual fan would be willing to criticize the company even harder. Like, you know, I like Rachel Aaron's books, but I'm also willing to put out all the flaws she has in her writing. You know, the somewhat formulaic plot of the romantic interests always meeting up and having the same kind of basic progression. It works, she does it very well, but it's still something she does fairly repetitively. And I can immediately tell exactly how most of the relationships are going to go at a glance. She's better at writing it than most people, but, you know, I still think it's a problem she might need to work on. Not every story necessarily needs a coupling. But hey, if you want to write that, it's your thing. Go ahead for it. It's a little predictable. JoJo's a walking contradiction. They're awesome and terrible at the same time. In different ways, too. Because, like, the game designers are good. The legal team is eh. The game consoles themselves are great. But then they try and shove motion controls into everything in a way we don't like. That often doesn't come out great. But then when the motion controls do work, we like them. Like, there are some parts of the Wii that I enjoy. I just didn't like how everything had motion controls all the time for the console. It's like, everything about them is a contradiction, it feels like. Their whole existence. I mean, that was Universal being greedy. Let's be real here. Also terrible. Can't have the highs without the lows. That's true. People are inherently contradictory. It is very true. And people like companies change and grow. Companies especially are weird because one of the reasons I'm not really loyal to like companies per se is because a company is just a group of people that can change. Like the person who starts a company can end up leaving it. I mean, look at what's a good example here? Look at EA. Actually, EA is actually a really good example of this. They started out as a fairly small game. No, not EA. Not EA. EA is always kind of a little shitty, I guess. Some of the best writers were massive a-holes. I mean, that's definitely true. I mean, hell, one of like the best mangaka was like a convicted pedophile. The guy who did Kenshin got convicted for pedophilia. Do not pull this lever under any circumstances. Why do game designers do this? Oh, come on. Okay, who says I should pull the lever to see what happens? Who thinks I should pull the lever? I think I should pull the lever. Should I pull the lever? They weren't going to make a mistake. I'm trying to think of a good example of a studio, though, that's kind of like been hollowed out into a shell. Actually, here's a good example. Look at Bethesda. I genuinely wonder how many people who used to work on games like Morrowind still work at the company. Not Todd, but like the actual game designers who work on the games now. Was excommunicated back when that was a big deal.
I should have seen that coming.
Oh, it was just a trap, but I dodged it because, you know, that's hilarious. I love this guy. Whoever wrote this note, good job. I also got an achievement for it. Ubisoft, that's a good example, yeah. I mean, the writer of Dante's Inferno excommunicated because he had a personal beef. That's actually more of a political issue. He wasn't necessarily a shitty person. I mean, he didn't ever propose to the woman who basically idealized and turned into an angel in the book, so it was creepy, don't get me wrong. But, like, he was excommunicated because the church backed a different ruling family in one of Venice's, like, weird... Or not Venice, was it Florence? I think it was Florence. One of Florence's weird political eras. It wasn't necessarily good or evil, it was more alternate sides, and he didn't like them. I'm not really sure you can call him evil. I mean, he did say the Pope was down, you know, in hell, and that history would validate this, which was hilarious. I did, you know what the funniest thing I found, though, was that he was all like, oh, Virgil Senpai, it's like, yes, I'm a great poet and writer, and you were great to idolize me for my writing skills and nothing else, because I'm also a filthy pagan who deserves to rot in hell. I'm sorry, Dante. Virgil Senpai, no. That's a-hole adjacent, at least. It's relatively a-hole-ish. Yeah, but most people caught up in all that BS were a-holes. I don't really know enough about Dante Alighieri as a person. I do know he kind of was a bit creepy with Beatrice, because Beatrice was like not someone he really knew. Beatrice was a woman he never really talked to outside of his poems. So it is a little creepy. He self-inserted a girl he knew he had seen around town and loved and never said anything, like a stalker, and made her into like an angel. That was a little weird. Oh, there's a healer over there. Get froze. Get frozoed. Example when a trademark word ends up being used by a broad public to refer to a type of product loses validity, for example, Band-Aids. The trademark is no longer valid. It isn't? Is that sort of like Tupperware? Is a Tupperware trademark valid? I'm actually curious about that one. Frisbee? Oh. How long does it take for a trademark to become invalid? I'm actually curious. Because I thought the thing with trademarks is you could renew them essentially forever. Or is it more that it becomes culturally known enough for it to become invalid? Like, it just becomes the common reference for things.
Searching for the heart.
Because if so, I'm wondering how long certain internet terms, like Googling and stuff. Like, go ahead and Google it. Trademarks never end. Well, yeah, but you said it's no longer valid. You said it's no longer a valid trademark. What is that? What's the difference then? Is it that you technically own the trademark, but you can't really enforce it because it's more of a colloquial term now? Oh, cool! The little trap beams that are meant to like swing back and forth to hit you, we can actually hop on them and use. Oh, that's just cool. I haven't seen many games do something like that. That's fun. Not without having like an auto snapping like the character to it, kind of thing. That's nice. I'm not like heavily read up on trademark law in the U.S., so. This is because if you ask someone for a Band-Aid, they will give you a tape-on bandage, not necessarily one from the brand Band-Aid. Okay. But you can't just call things a Band-Aid in an ad or something like that for an off-brand bandage. Genericized trademark, WikiLinks live in chat. Okay, cool. Thanks. I'll have to look into that once I'm done with the stream. We're probably heading to that point. It's almost 9:30. But yeah. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the fact that trademarks never end. Like, on one hand, it's your brand name, but on the other hand, like, some really dumb things have been trademarked. I still remember Cataclysm. I think we all remember the Cataclysm thing, right? When, because a lot of times you'll trademark stuff and there won't even be stuff you could enforce a trademark on, and people will just assume you could. God. The fact that Bethesda still has a trademark on the word Cataclysm pisses me off to no end. Brand names become synonymous. Well, yeah, that's my point. It's like, after a while, when your brand name becomes synonymous with something, it feels weird that you're still able to have complete control over who uses the word. It feels weird. Like, I get that the idea is that you're not supposed to be able to, like, fake your brand, that you're a different brand or whatever. I don't know, maybe it's the fact that I don't really see why companies need to have these protections if they're centuries old. I feel like after you're centuries old, you kind of training wheels need to come off or something. Like when it comes generic, you lose control. Okay. Well, we don't have to worry about that happening with tweet. Because, you know, now it's post or whatever. Oh, when you make yourself generic. I wonder how long until Googling becomes a default search term. Like, even when you said you're you might say search, but I've heard people say I'm gonna Google this on Bing or I'm gonna Google this on DuckDuckGo. It's becoming like a default term for search because so many people use Google. And I wonder how long until that becomes a default search term. I don't think Google's going to want it to become a default search term. I don't think Google's going to want it to become generic, but I think it is one of those terms that's eventually going to become generic. Because it's just so, like, it basically becoming the word search online, or search for a website, is just Googling it. You need to Google this. But I don't know how long it'll be until that happens. It's something to think about. Ooh, chest. Mine. Then again, Googling it does refer to Googling on Google. Or searching on Google. See, I did it myself just now, actually. Searching on Google. I feel like the fact that I just did it kind of supports my point. I think it's also tied so heavily to the company. I do wonder if we're going to break Google up, because I still don't think that really works. There have been talks about trying to break Google up to, like, destroy their search monopoly. I'm like, I don't know how you do it without making the internet non-functional. Like, even other search engines rely on Google to an extent. It's weird. Find a way to turn out the flames. Steer clear until you figure it out. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, look, there's a head in the jar. And a hand. And a fly-ridden butcher knife. Split Google and YouTube. Done. Yeah, but YouTube... I don't think YouTube should survive on its own. I think all that would do is kill YouTube, and I'm not sure that's a good idea. Do. Springberry. Oh, shoot. Do I have an anti-fire stuff? There we go. It did warn me to steer clear, huh? More competition in the video creator space. Well, the thing is, YouTube, it doesn't just, like, affect YouTube and Google. It affects everyone who uses YouTube. And, like, from what I've heard from other creators, other platforms have a harder time, you know, doing monetization. Like, YouTube isn't perfect, but it also has, like, pretty decent monetization compared to other video sharing websites. Unless you get a hold of something like a Nebula or whatever. But YouTube has wider, you know, acceptability. Like, there used to be competition with Dailymotion, but Dailymotion is basically just, like, not even... only reason I know Dailymotion exists is because it comes up occasionally, but they never has what I want. I know that much. Oh, cool. Grizzly bear. You know, let's go back into the previous room. Mume's stream started, gotta go. Yeah, it's about time for me to go too. Alright. We'll go ahead and save the murdery bear for later. You know what, actually. Bonsai! Frozo! Powers! Activate! There we go. Cool, we got it. Alright, well I guess I'll see you guys all next time. Change can't happen. You're right. You're right. I'm being a little pessimistic. And we've seen that when you break up large monopolies, things do get better. I mean, look what happened when we broke up the Cape. We broke up, what was it, Bell South or whatever? They were all like, oh, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. But then the internet happened. And it partially happened because the improvements to phone infrastructure and stuff. Note some generic goods first. Oh, yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. Why not? We can end the stream with a little look up at, like, generic stuff. Cool. Let's do it. So let's see here. Former trademarks that have been genericized. Wait, air fryer was a trademark? I mean, I guess the first air fryer, sure, but like I can't imagine. Was oven a trademark? Was oven ever a trademark? No, ever. Wait, App Store? Oh my God. Wait. This is not because of genericization. Gave Amazon a covenant not to sue over App Store for Amazon, but abandoned the lawsuit after early rejection of false advertising claim in the lawsuit as part of the settlement. Now the registration canceled. So wait, they dropped they dropped their trademark as part of a settlement. Cellophane. Wow, cellophane's Circline dry. Well, wait, dry. Okay. How do you trademark a chemical compound? Not even a chemical compound. A state of matter of carbon dioxide. That's stupid. That's dumb. The fact that this was trademarked is dumb. I'm sorry. That's dumb. That's very dumb. Like, what else do you call that? Escalator? Okay, that makes sense. They were the first ones to do it. Otis Elevator Company made the escalator. Registered trademark until 1950. But after a while, if everybody calls everything like it an escalator, it's an escalator. Named Dry Ice. I guess. I guess that's part of the point, though. It's like, I can't think of it as anything other than dry ice. Frozen CO2. Yeah? Flit gun. Hair... Wait. Wait, what? Oh my gods. Oh my gods. The trademark was heroin? Heroin was trademarked by Friedrich Bayer and Co. in 1892. Just... The absurdity of that statement, just... I love it. I love it so much. Hovercraft. Okay. Oh, for those hovercrafts, okay. Kerosene? Okay. Combustible hydrocarbon liquid derived from petroleum. Some of these are just, like, so generic nowadays that I can't even imagine they were brand names ever once upon a time. Like, I mean, aspirin I kind of get. It's you know, I know that aspirin is, like, there's aspirin and generic aspirin. But, like, Cat's Eye, Cellophane, Circline. Flip phone was originally a trademark of Motorola. Now it's just, like, a type of phone. Heroin trademark. No, you lost this trademark during the... It was lost in some nations due to the Treaty of Versailles. What the frick? Oh. Oh my god, I don't even just... Laundromat. Coin shop laundry. Oh. Sellotape. Oh man. Man, oh man, oh man. Teleprompter. Really? That was a trademark? Thermos. Okay, I can kind of see that. We have plenty of official cup names. Trampoline. Wait, it was only lost in the US. It's still a trademark in the rest of the world. Interesting. Trampoline was originally a trademark of the Trampoline Tumbling Company. Videotape was also... Really? A videotape? Okay, this one just seems weird, because that just seems like a generic way of saying video on tape. Someone invented it, so they named it. Yeah, I know, but it's weird that you can, like... I'm sorry, at certain point, trademarks seem just weird to me. Like, videotape isn't even, like, really a name. It's just the description of the product. It is video magnetic tape. Like, that's all it is. It's super, super dumb. Super glue. It was lost... The trademark was canceled by a court ruling, which found that the term had always been generic. So, see like, super glue is too generic. It was always generic. The original super glue is still trademark patent. Look at this. How are these other ones good, but, like, something like super glue is also just generic. It had always been generic. They never actually had the trademark. That was the ruling. That seems weird. That seems weird. I feel like if videotape is even more generic than super glue, in my opinion. Patent product for 20 years. Yep. Touchtone, okay, I can understand that. Webster's Dictionary, I mean, that's just a name. So yeah, if it's Webster's Dictionary, that seems fair. I'm actually really surprised they only have a trademark on Merriam-Webster. Huh. Other dictionaries are legally published as Webster's Dictionary. I didn't know that. Yo-yo. Okay. Zip code. Wait, zip code was trademarked? By the U.S. Postal Service? Okay. I'm not sure what the purpose behind that trademark... It's expired, so I'm not sure what the purpose behind the trademark there was. Only existed for decades. We have had strong adhesives for centuries. Videotape has only existed for decades. I guess that's fair. There have been plenty of glues stronger than the generic glue we use now. There have been plenty of adhesives that have been used to, like, nearly permanently... List of protected trademarks frequently used as generic terms. Marks in this list are still legally protected as trademarks, at least in some jurisdictions, but are used by consumers in a generic sense. Adidas, Airfix, Alien Wrench. I've never heard the term Alien Wrench. Oh no, Allen Wrench. I can't read. Apologies. Allen Wrench. I'm a fucking idiot. Chain gun. Chapstick. Chapstick is lip balm. Coke for soda. Yeah, Coke for soda. Coke for soda. Coke. Yeah. Cola, though. Cola is... Why isn't cola trademarked, though? Is it? No, it's not. Sadly, it was graduation due to her health. Pepsi Cola. Oh, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, but Pepsi Cola wasn't originally called Pepsi Cola. Like, it wasn't. Coke came, I think, first, and Pepsi Cola came later. And it wasn't originally called Pepsi Cola. It was called Brad's Drink, if I remember correctly. I know that because of something else. It was really stupid. But, like, let me make sure. Brad's Drink. I'm nearly positive Pepsi was originally called Brad's Drink. Yeah, Caleb Bradham, originally named Brad's Drink, was first sold in his drugstore in New Birth, California. It was renamed Pepsi Cola in 1989. So Coca-Cola was in 1888. It was originally a temperance drink, invented in the late 19th century. So that's what I'm surprised by that. So if it was called Coca-Cola or Coke, why? I mean, I knew the whole thing was originally a temperance drink. Cola is a type of soda. I know. But if Coca-Cola was that, why not? Right. Cola flavor. Cola became popular worldwide after the American pharmacist invented Coca-Cola as a trademark brand and was imitated by other fast... See, that's what I'm saying. Like, Coca-Cola became a thing because... Cola did, and it was... In following it, a bunch of people tried to imitate cola, and that's where we get the drink's name from, I think. Is just, like, people calling it a cola. Right, but it's specifically doing this. The reason this definition is here is because that's what Coke tastes like. And this is like the ingredients used to try and replicate Coke. So what the cola really says is... cola really means is a carbonated beverage meant to taste like Coke. Unless there were other colas beforehand, but I don't see anything. Cola nut. See here? Citrusolas. Cola nut. The plant genus Cola with a C, formerly in the coca family, which is now... Okay, so it was an actual plant name. Oh, I see. Alright, that makes more sense. If it was a plant name and the genus actually had the C name, then they couldn't just trademark the name of a plant. That makes sense. Photoshop for photo manipulation. Okay, this one... I'm actually wondering how long Photoshop is going to be trademarked. This one is really generic. Like, yeah, you can use other things, but like, when people talk about images getting edited, when they see like a meme, they're like, oh look, they just scrounged this together in Photoshop. It doesn't matter what editor you use. People are going to claim you used it in Photoshop, and I'm wondering how long Photoshop is going to last. Actually, as a protected term. Like, a lot of the other ones are very tied to, like, a brand name, I guess, and there are other ones that have gotten popular-ish, but, you know... Then again, Popsicle is still not considered generic enough, which I think is really weird, because I feel like Popsicle is, like... I call everything I have a Popsicle. I don't call it a brand because it's a Popsicle brand. I call it a Popsicle because it's a Popsicle. I feel like this is just waiting for someone to challenge. I feel like this already exists as a generic term. People are just waiting for someone to challenge it. You know, like we're literally just waiting for the next case where some popsicle brand decides to call their popsicle a popsicle, and Popsicle the company decides to challenge them for patent infringement, and they get like, that's a popsicle too. It's a generic term. Get over yourself. Wait, pogo means corn dog? Okay, it's a term for corn dogs in Canada. Name for the brand. Got it. Post shop and post office. New Zealand post office. Okay. Pot noodle? Oh, United Kingdom as the dominant brand. Okay. PowerPoint. Ooh. I feel like slideshow is still the generic term, though. Like, when you say popsicle and this ice pop, ice lolly, or icy pole, I still think enough people say popsicle more than they say Ice Pop. Like, I don't say Ice Pop. I literally just say Popsicle, and I don't care what brand it's from. But I do think that PowerPoint is still, people will just say slideshow. Although part of that is that people have stopped, Microsoft Office has taken a hit because Microsoft has taken a hit. Razor scooter? I mean, people just call it folding scooter or something like that. Yeah, or just scooter. Rollerblade. Okay, rollerblade with inline skate. This one also might. I know it's technically a brand, but like this one also probably is just waiting for somebody to challenge. Roomba is probably protected because robot vacuum cleaner is just, Roomba is just an exaggeration of that, so it's probably stayed for a while. Ski-Doo, Sea-Doo, Sellotape, Sharpie. I thought Sellotape was one of the ones up on the top where it wasn't anymore. Sharpie. Sharpie also might. I can see that one. Both Giggles and Ease. Yeah, again, it gets called by other names when you're talking, when you're not talking about the program. I feel like when people say PowerPoint, they mostly refer to I'm in PowerPoint the program, not I'm using a slideshow. Whereas with Popsicle, I actually don't even say Icy Pop. I just say Popsicle. Like, it's the name of that thing. That's just generic. Styrofoam I could also see. I don't think anyone calls it polystyrene foam. It's or polystyrene packing peanuts. They're like styrofoam peanuts or whatever. Even if it's other brands. I could see a few of these getting challenged. Why is Transformers even on this list? That's very different than Mecha. This is not the same thing. These two things are not the same. No, they do for slideshow itself. Sometimes just like Photoshop. Well, I'm saying it's not as prolific as Photoshop. I feel like Photoshop gets used a lot more often than PowerPoint specifically when referring to their generic version. Uber, I don't think that Uber has to worry about theirs. They're very new, and people have said, like, calling a Lyft. Velcro, I don't know how the frickin' hell Velcro is still trademark. Used as generic, but still trademark, often used as a verb. I don't understand how Velcro is still holding on here. I have never heard anyone call this a hook and loop fastener. Ever. I've heard it called Velcro. I have literally never heard this term used by an actual person. Language is very regional. Up in the north, they can soda pop. It was weird. That's true. That's true. That is very true. I live in Louisiana, so of all people, I should understand that. Xerox, Winnebago, Zamboni, Zeppelin, Rigid Airship, yeah. Ziploc? I could see Ziploc getting challenged too. There aren't a ton of these I actually see getting challenged. Like, most of these I'm like, yeah, there's a reason these are not generic. These aren't, like, lost their trademark yet. But I feel like some of these are literally just, nobody has challenged them yet. Like, Onesie, or, actually, wait, Onesie is how is Onesie even a trademark? I'm nearly positive. I know LTT sells onesies, and I think they call them onesies. So, like, I feel like this is actually, it's still legally trademark. Recently used to describe an adult bodysuit. I know LTT sells onesies. I've heard them mention on their stream before. And I'm like, that has to just be a trademark challenge away. There are a few of these, like Sharpie or Onesie or Popsicle, that I think could probably get become generic if anybody was willing to challenge them. It's just because that's the other thing, right? It's like these only lose their status if somebody challenges them from a court. If nobody's willing to test the trademark, no, it doesn't fail. I mean, that's why Cataclysm, in my opinion, that's why Cataclysm is still owned by Blizzard. I actually think they would fail that trademark. I do not think they have the right to trademark Cataclysm. But until somebody decides to do that, to call their game Cataclysm something, or something the Cataclysm, or something : Cataclysm, and then Blizzard decides we would like to actually sue you over it, so it'd probably have to be a popular enough game for them to be willing to sue. Until those two things happen, it's going to be trademark. And I think it's a few of these fall into that category of, these are probably no longer. Also, Band-Aid is generic by consumers in the US. It's still legally trademarked. Band-Aid is still legally trademarked, buddy. You were talking about Band-Aid earlier. But no. it's still legally trademarked. Nobody's challenged it. It's the same thing with the others. Nobody's challenged it yet. Anyway, this was a fun experiment. I do enjoy looking at this. It's always nice to learn more about the world. So, yeah, this has been the stream. I hope you guys enjoyed it, including this random weird tangent. I hope nobody stopped by to watch gaming videos, hopped in real quick, and was like, what the hell is going on here? Trademarks have to be unique and unrelated. Yeah. Well, and they also usually only go on, like, specific categories. Like, Blizzard can sue people for calling a game cataclysm. They can't sue somebody for calling a movie cataclysm. Like how apples have nothing to do with computers. Exactly. 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 Although you can trademark the names of apples and the freaking DNA of plants. Because I guess we decided that crossbreeding should be copyright protected. Anyway, good night. I will see you guys all on Tuesday. Bye.